Ooh, it is bright today. I think that's a little better. Oh. Hey, Miko. There she is. Hey, you guys. Welcome to Conversations with Allieetoile. We are back. Episode 10 is here, and I have the amazing Miko Fogarty joining us today. I'm going to bring her on. Let's see.
Hello.
Oh, there she is. Hi, Miko. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you on here. This is amazing. Well, for those who are joining us, obviously you can see I have the lovely, amazing, beautiful Miko Fogarty as our special guest, and I can't believe it. We're already on episode number 10. This is crazy.
Yeah, congratulations, Ali.
Thank you. No, thank you
Amazing
for being a
idea.
part of this. This is so exciting. Well, in any event, I want to pass the mic to you a little bit. Obviously, I think a good majority of our audience has an idea of who you are, your amazing ballet career, and of course, all of the pursuits that you're doing right now. But I'd love for you to be able to give a little bit of insight or background to who you are, what you're doing, and all that good stuff before we dive into today's conversation.
Sure. Thank you, Ali, first of all, for having me. I'm really honored to be a part of this series. So my name is Miko, and up until I was 18, I was doing a lot of ballet. I was competing a lot, and I joined the Birmingham Royal Ballet, which Ali is also part of now. um, so yeah, but then I decided to kind of start a new chapter in my life, which was kind of more academically focused and pursue health and medicine. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just finishing up my last year in undergraduate, college, and university. And this summer I'll be applying to different graduate schools. So we'll see, but that's kind of what I've been doing recently. And yeah, that's just
Which
a
is
really quick.
beyond exciting. She's beauty and she's brains. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Well, in any event, I mean, it goes without saying, you had an absolutely amazing ballet career while you were involved in this art form, and there is so much knowledge I'm sure that everyone is just dying to hear. I personally am excited to hear, and so I have a series of conversation topics I want to dive into, and of course I have some questions that people have sent in, and for those who are watching this now, please feel free to send them in as well, and we will try to get as many as we can. So I wanted to start a little bit with the first question I have that was someone sent in, which I thought was so amazing. And basically, in your personal experience, we see what's happening in the world right now. We see what's happening to various infrastructures, but how do you personally feel, with the knowledge that you've had when you were dancing, how do you see this affecting the ballet and arts community?
Yeah, my
Aside
heart
from the
goes,
obvious, no one's dancing.
yeah. I know it's such a weird time to be in right now. Like it's something like our generation has never really experienced before. And especially for the theater community, because um like my heart goes out to everybody in the theater community, because it's hard to continue doing theater if you're not even allowed to join in in groups at all anymore. So it's so hard to see the theater community going through what's going right now, but it's also inspiring to see so many different artists and ballet dancers doing podcasts like these, and also online classes, and supporting each other and attending these other classes. It's just really inspiring to see everybody supporting each other. It's that's really nice about it. But it is definitely such a hard time for the arts right now, I feel like, because or like the arts already don't have enough money to begin with, and then something like this can be so devastating. So yeah, my heart really goes out to everybody in the arts for sure.
Definitely. I mean, and thank you for that. No, I mean, it is like you said it perfectly. This is a challenging time. This is a time where there's a lot of fear because we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. Personally speaking, Birmingham Royal Ballet, we've unfortunately had to close our doors like many other companies have, and it's an indefinite amount of time. I mean, it's so strange, I think, for dancers. You know this, and even now that you're studying, like
Mhm.
it's the discipline that we have and the structure that we're so used to having in our lives of a day-to-day routine, whether it's going to work and rehearsing, going to school and studying, and just getting into that routine. I think that our personalities, whether you're in dance, out of dance, when you have that discipline in your life, it's very difficult to all of a sudden have an entire day to do what you want.
For sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, and especially at this time, because it's not always easy to figure out like, oh, okay, what should I do today? Because it's very limited again, like what we can do. And
Yeah.
physically we take a hit because dancer or not, people like to stay active, people like to do things. We're not able to do that. And even mentally, that's something that I think, dancer or not, is a big issue that the world is dealing with very silently. And
Yeah.
basically, that was something I wanted to tie into the next question is, obviously you've been through the ballet world, so you know how this is too. For dancers, the physical demand is crazy. But mentally, why do you think it's so difficult for dancers to talk about the mental struggles that we go through? I mean, whether it's self-image, as we grow up and our bodies change, whether it's self-negativity that we bring onto ourselves or environmental concerns, what have you experienced and how have you been able to move through that and go through that? And you personally speaking, you made a very difficult decision in your life to transition out of a ballet career. And how has
Yeah.
your mentality changed, in it and out of it?
Yeah. No, that's a really great question. So in terms of people not really speaking about it, I think in general in society, it's hard to talk about things that are not going well in your life, like on
Sure.
social media, for example, or anywhere. It's you usually post like the best moments of your life and all the amazing things that are happening and all that. It's really hard to post about something that's not going well in your life. So
Yeah.
that's first of all, that's just in society. That's like in the ballet world as well as outside of the ballet world. And I think in the ballet world, it's even harder to kind of talk about insecurities or things that you're struggling with because you're taught throughout your training to kind of, first of all, it's not a talkative art form. It's very silent. So
Yeah.
first of all, you don't really talk that much in class to begin with. Second of all, it's like you're kind of taught that the show must go on. Whatever you're dealing with, whether your costumes not feeling good or your pointers aren't good or the floor is not good or the music's weird, like you're taught every day to like get up and keep going no matter what. So that also makes it hard for people to kind of speak up about
Yeah.
issues. And thirdly, so those are like the two main points why I think people like don't talk about it enough. And it's a very important topic to talk about, mental health for sure.
Sure.
um and it's just kind of a new thing in ballet to talk about mental health. I feel like not I feel like people haven't talked about it so far that much, and it needs to be talked about. So I'm really happy that you're creating this platform that people can talk about it.
Well,
In
thank
terms
you.
Yeah, in terms of my own life, it was really hard because I had like social medias like Instagram and stuff,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
especially in like the year that I was transitioning away from ballet, that was the hardest year of my life because not because of my decision to leave ballet. That was like super hard in like its own thing, but the social media side of it was really really difficult for me because I felt like everybody was watching me to see like what I do in ballet, and having to
Sure.
kind of open up about not doing ballet anymore was literally the hardest part of leaving for me. Like it took me more than 2 years, like 2 full years to finally open up to people. Like first I didn't barely open up to any friends, and then I started opening up to like really close friends, and then people that didn't do ballet, I'd talk to them about ballet. And then after like 2 full freaking years was I able to actually like speak up about what I like that I left and why I left and all of that. It was definitely a struggle. So I kind of want to be that person on social media that if dancers are going through hard times or want to talk about anything, like they can reach out to me anytime, because I've experienced some maybe have experienced some of the things they're going through. So
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, and it's so commendable. I am proud. I mean, I have always been a huge Miko fan. I'm sure a lot of people on here are. Love to Miko, you guys. But I mean, seriously, it's regardless of what we're doing, ballet dancers, students, whatever, making those choices is so important. And the only one who's going to take care of you is you, because you are the
Yeah.
only one who can determine if you're happy, if you're being fulfilled, if it's
Mhm.
worthwhile. And if it's not, life is too short not to fully enjoy everything. And
Yeah.
I at one point had a time in my career just before this season of joining Birmingham Royal Ballet. I was not dancing for an entire season. I was off for an entire year. I don't know if many people know that. I went an entire year without a phone, no social media. I
Oh
shut
my God.
everything off and I needed a time to just put the blinders on, refocus, and figure out, who's Allie? What is she doing?
Yeah.
It's not always easy. And it's hard because I want to tie this into the next question. Someone wrote, is being a ballerina part of your identity? Ballet is a major part of my life. I think, Miko, it's safe to say it was a huge part of your life as well,
Yeah.
but it doesn't define who we are. I'm of the mindset that, of course, people maybe on Instagram know me as Allie the ballerina because they see the pictures, and that's
Yeah.
mostly what I do, but that's just what happens, for some hours of my day. I mean, it's many
Yeah.
hours of the day, more
Yeah.
often than not, but it's
Yeah.
not all of who I am. I think that that's something that needs to be more normalized in conversation. Obviously we make sacrifices for this, but how does that, how would how would you say being a ballet dancer has affected your identity, whether it's been on social media, personally, with friends?
Yeah, yeah. When I was leaving ballet, that was like one of the hardest things for me because I had like associated myself with being a ballerina for so long. Like that was like my identity. Like everything I posted online was ballet, 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 which is fine. And even at one point, like my Facebook like name was like Miko Ballerina Fogarty or something like that back when I was 12. And like just my whole life revolved around ballet. And I think I didn't give enough like presence to other chapters of or like other parts of my life, but that's part of the reason that I wanted to kind of delve into other things in my life.
Sure.
And like nowadays, like ballet will always be a part of me and like be a part of my identity for sure. But I think you can have many, that you don't have to only identify with one thing. Even if your social media kind of seems like it, like you are yourself, and you can identify with many things in your life, and it just makes your like life like rich if you're able to identify with a lot of things and experience a lot of things in life. So um, yeah, ballet was amazing, and it'll always be a part of me, as I said. But
For sure.
I think it's nice to uh, experience other things in life too. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so someone sent in, I've got my computer next to me, and then the screen is just like nonstop sending things in. This
Oh,
one's really interesting. It talks a little bit about insecurities. Obviously, you have been to several competitions,
yeah.
galas, high profile events. You know,
Mhm.
do you ever get insecure? Were there ever times when you were dancing or competing, performing, whatever, where you had fears or things that you would internalize about yourself, because obviously there's a lot of young dancers who look up to you, a lot of professionals who dance beside you, and you have always had really, really strong performances and have been able to completely just make your audience fall in love with you, but
Thank
you're a person too. We all think and feel and react different. Were there times ever where you would get nervous or you would feel not confident with who you were on stage?
you. Oh my God, all the time. I think every dancer has experienced some insecurities, whether it's about their own body or how they dance. I think it started for me a little bit older, and when I was maybe when I was like 14, which is actually not that old, but like one person was like, your calves are kind of big. And I was like, hello. And then I was like super like
Do
conscious
you
about that
stand
when
on
I
point all day? No, I'm
was.
kidding.
Yeah, I know, right? And then so I was like really concerned about that. And then, of course, when I was like 16, I was like going through puberty and
Sure.
my body was like changing. And it was just really weird to see my body grow kind of in that way. And I didn't like it because I liked being like that child figure with like nothing.
Those like drawings of ballerinas, it's like stick legs, stick arms,
Yeah,
bendy
yeah,
feet, legs behind the head, like twisted and
yeah.
all that.
I know. I was like wanted to stay like that, but I like nature took its toll and I was not staying like that, and it was like really really difficult. And towards the end, like towards the last couple years, I was always not confident, I think, with my body, which is part of the reason why I left too, because I just never felt satisfied with myself, like physically. Like I never felt I was my body was like good enough, and um mentally I was like not happy either, so that's part of the reason why I left. But yeah, it was really hard to deal with the insecurities, and that was a really big part about kind of why I left, was because I just like never felt secure about my own body, and I kind of like every day I kind of despised it even more, which was like really really difficult to deal with. um and in ballet, it's like easy to feel like that because you're staring at the mirror all day, every day.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially as a teenager, your body's growing. And even like like you aspire to be like skinny in ballet, which is like not natural kind of to be that's like it is natural for some people, but for like everyone has different bodies. So
Yeah,
um
definitely.
like learning to kind of love yourself and your body is very important in ballet, and kind of keeping yourself healthy through it all is very important, which I was not good at doing. So, yeah, that was a huge, huge part of ballet for me, for sure, was dealing with insecurities.
When was that realization, though, or when did the realization come to you that I am enough? Who I am is beautiful and is seen as someone on stage, on the street, in life, as someone who is worth so much and so talented and so valuable? Because I know that that's something that we all can get easily wrapped up into. Obviously I think ballet dancers have this, I want to call it like a character trait of being a people pleaser. We
Mm-hmm.
want to be seen in the best light by our colleagues, our directors, our peers. And then, of course, with the people that we love, the people who helped us get to where we are. I think it's I think it's only, we feel like, I know me, I feel like I owe part of who I am and what I'm doing to my family because they put so much time and effort and, dedication and sacrifices into helping me get to where I'm at now. How has that played a factor into your life?
Yeah, I mean, the moment where I felt like I was like enough, I think it it was like up and down when I was in ballet. Like sometimes if I like won a big competition, I'd be like, whoa, I'm like enough. But then like I don't know, there'd be like ups and downs for sure where I'd feel like, yeah, I'm definitely not enough. Like this is not good. I hate myself, blah blah blah. um but like ever kind of since I completely left ballet, probably like from the first week of college, I felt a lot more confident about myself.
Sure.
Um, and that's when I've like consistently felt like I'm enough. Um, but I think it's very important for dancers to kind of yeah, be like self-aware and remind themselves that there's always going to be people that are better than you. There's always going to be people that are worse than you, but you just have to keep working on yourself, and like you are enough. You just have to work hard and you'll be fine. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. No, and someone, I kind of want to tag into what we were just talking about. Someone wrote in, they feel like they're losing their passion. They feel like they're struggling to want to keep dancing because they feel like they're constantly comparing themselves to others. What can you talk about with strengths and weaknesses? And, of course, ballet is competitive. It's very, it's not for everybody. And for those who are trying to have a career in this field, it's not always easy to get a job, especially, in a time
Now.
like right now where no one's
Yeah.
hiring. It's difficult, it's stressful. I was
Totally.
in that place, you were in that place when we were going through the audition periods, and there's just a lot of, you see who else is out there, and you're like, oh, am I what they're looking for? Is someone going to see me and love me? And
Hmm.
then, of course, if we see the girl to our right or to our left, and maybe they have a higher jump, or maybe their leg is just a little bit higher than yours, or their foot is, whatever. We all have eyes, and, we all have strengths and weaknesses. So, what is your personal outlook on all that?
Yeah, I think competitiveness is something that does come with ballet, just as you were saying. But for me, I was able to kind of figure out that I was not really competing against other people because, I mean, you are kind of competing against other people, but I wouldn't focus on that because there's always going to be people that are amazing, like 9-year-olds in Asia that are like way better at you
Doing
at
like 30
everything.
pirouettes. Yeah.
I know. Like there's always gonna be people that are better than you, but for me, I was just focusing more on like competing with myself, like trying to be better and better than what I was before.
Sure.
So that's what I was competing with was more myself than anything else. It's like especially when I got towards the last couple of years of competition, like doing like ballet competitions, I did not focus on trying to be intimidated by everybody else, and I was inspired by other people, but I was not I didn't try to be like better than them. I just tried to dance like my very best, which is hard because sometimes you dance it really well in the studio and then on stage like anything can happen. So my goal was towards the end was at least to dance my best that I could, that I've been rehearsing at in the studio, and then whatever the scores ended up being, whatever the placements was, I was just like happy with that. As long as I danced my best, like I'd feel better that I danced well and didn't win gold than winning gold and not dancing my best, kind of thing.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
I'd go with it in that mindset is just trying to improve yourself more than trying to be better than everyone else because you're never going to achieve that. Like there's always going to be people that are amazing, and you just like I feel like it should be more a source of inspiration than competition for sure. So even if you are like auditioning and you see a bunch of other amazing dancers, like try not to feel intimidated, try not to like put yourself down because these other people are amazing. Just be inspired and try not to focus on other people. I'd say, of course, be kind and everything like that, like, but don't focus on what everyone else is doing. Just like focus on yourself, do your best that you can do, and that's all you can do. So
No,
yeah.
absolutely. And I want to point out, you were talking so much about doing the best you can do, focusing
Mhm.
on yourself. I
Mhm.
think part of the beauty of what we do as artists is the fact that, yeah, of course, even if you're in a corps de ballet, you're all trying to work together to move as one. Or if you're doing soloist principal roles, you have the ability to really put a piece of yourself into what you're doing. And I
Mhm.
think that people oftentimes forget that what makes amazing artists today is those subtle, unique differences, the things
Mhm.
that, whether it's a physical difference, the way we move, the way we're built, or if it's the emotional, artistic side of things, the way you portray a certain role, the way you portray a certain
Yeah.
character. I think it's absolutely amazing to see those progressions in people and to see those subtle differences because, at the end of the day, when we look at the major ballet stars of today, no two are the same. They're all very, very
Yeah.
different, all very different, which I think is a beautiful thing. I think it keeps ballet interesting. You can watch 10 people, it's like YAGP. You've been to a competition, so have I. I mean, you can
Yeah.
see like 15 Esmeraldas in a row, but they're not one of them are the same.
Totally. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Again, I think that's what makes art so beautiful. Is like the individualistic approach to it. Is that
Yeah,
it's just like everyone can do it slightly different, which makes it so pretty. And like seeing it live too is so nice
sure.
because you like it. That's what makes live performances different from like YouTube performances. Is that if you watch like a YouTube performance, like the same video over and over, it won't like change really. But if you see a live performance over and over, it will change slightly every time. So that's what makes it so cool to watch.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like that's what makes art so amazing, I think, for sure.
Absolutely. I just want to quickly address a few people have been writing in if this live is going to be saved. If you guys want to be able to check it out, watch it again, it will be made available on allieetoile YouTube channel. So say no more. I've got you guys covered. You guys can watch Miko anytime you want, and it's going to
Yeah,
be great.
go subscribe to Ali.
And Miko, of course. Oh, okay, well, anyway, I want to dive back into a few more of these questions. Some of these are pretty sensitive ones, but I think that they're pretty important to address. You know, obviously, there's sacrifices in ballet, and I want to talk about how difficult that is because it's not always easy to talk about what we have to give up in order to do what we have done.
Sure.
Whether it's traditional schooling, if you have to transfer to an online platform of homeschooling, stuff like that, or moving away from home at a young age, or traveling
Yeah.
so much and giving up the kind of normal social experiences that you would have as a young teenager, young adult. you know I've
Yeah.
made them, you've made them, and then
Yeah.
this question is actually coming from a parent. They have a young student at home, I think, and they're asking, I don't want my child to miss out on life, but this is what they really want to do. What have we lived through, and how have we made it work? And do we regret
Yeah.
anything? Is there anything we would change, do differently?
Yeah. So you're completely right. I think everyone that's made it to be like a professional has definitely sacrificed some stuff in their life. Um, and every journey is different too. So not everyone has sacrificed like the same things. I definitely, well, when I saw this video recently of triathlon gold medal winner from the Olympics. Her name is Gwen Jorgensen, and she was talking about her training and sacrifices. And she was saying how her coach didn't let her call them sacrifices. Her coach made her call them like investments towards her
Oh wow,
future.
I like that.
So that's like a good kind of thing to think about, is not that you're sacrificing something, but instead that you're investing that towards whatever your goal is.
Sure.
So that's a good way to, and after I saw that, after I saw that, I was like, oh, that's like really cool to think about it in that way. That might kind of
Absolutely.
change your mindset, is not to think about it as a sacrifice, but think about it as an investment towards what you're doing. And that's how it felt like when I was younger. I wasn't really upset with any of the sacrifices I was making, maybe except like some certain foods. I like love like sweets and everything, and I don't know. So
Sure.
that might have been a little bit hard, um, but yeah, you can like, if you want to pursue this and this is your goal, then think of it more of, as an investment more than a sacrifice.
Absolutely. I think that's an amazing thing. And yeah, to be completely transparent here, we all made this choice.
Mm-hmm.
We knew fully that if we wanted to do this, there were going to be those hurdles to overcome. And so I want to encourage everyone who's maybe in that place in their training, parents, students, dancers, whomever may be seeing this. I think it's really important to know that we don't do this because it's a cool thing or because we've got nothing else better to do. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when you make that decision to take it from a recreational activity to a pre-professional program type thing, it's
Yeah.
it's a big deal, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
thought, a lot of time, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
researching involved. And yeah, I mean, and it is investing in yourself and investing in your future. And I want to tie this into the next question, which is, how has your training in dance and how has your professional career helped you prepare, and how is that transferred into your life now with your studies? And I mean, are we going to have Dr. Miko in the future, or what is the next 3 to 5 year goal look like?
Yeah. I mean, I think dance for sure has um, differed the way I like study and how I prepare for exams and stuff at school. I think school has not been, I was so afraid of college. Because I homeschooled for so long, or online schooled for so long, like both middle school and high school, I was basically doing online school. So I was so nervous for college. I was like, I'm gonna fail all my
Oh,
classes. Like, how am I supposed to do calculus and like
yeah.
chemistry and all this stuff? Um, But actually, like, when I started college, I was like, this is like nothing compared to ballet. Like, I truly think that if you can live through being a ballet dancer, you can really live through a lot as well, like anything else, because of the mental stamina that you need for
Yeah.
being a ballet dancer. Like, the persistence to go back to class every single day and work on yourself every single day and try to improve every single day, like that mindset really has helped me, I think, in college. um and that's why I've seen, like, from the past couple years, I've been able to connect with a lot of past dancers that are now like almost like engineers and doctors and like lawyers and like amazing things in life, because I think just the persistence and stamina that you have in ballet. And also one more thing is like colleges like love ballet dancers. Like, I had no idea about this before, but they're very welcoming to like the fine arts. Like, they love dancers for some reason. So
That's
that was
amazing.
also helpful. So
Well, and I
um,
want to say sorry real quick that I keep moving around. I'm sitting by a window and the Florida sun is just like, I'm
oh
trying to look at
no.
the screen and I'm like blinding myself, you guys. Oh my gosh. No, but Miko, I think that's amazing. I mean, definitely it goes without saying. You have a track record of all of the amazing feats that you've done in your professional career, and I can only see how that is exemplary for you in your academic pursuits. The time and commitment that you've shown to your ballet, I'm sure that applies to your studies, and I'm so excited to see in the next couple of years what else is going to be coming for you. I know for me, the most exciting thing that I saw from you, wow, I think this was probably one of the first things that you did maybe after transitioning from life after ballet, was your TED Talk.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was, I mean, I was in tears watching it. I mean, I was just blown away. I loved it, and I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. And it's amazing, actually, because that I watched that video at a time in my life right after choosing to leave Houston Ballet. And the situation for me leaving Houston Ballet wasn't really one that was made public. I didn't really talk about it because it wasn't really a very healthy, happy situation that I was, the terms in which I was leaving. And
Yeah.
I struggled a lot with my health. I was in the hospital for quite a bit because of it, physically. And of course, that took a huge, huge hit mentally on me,
Yeah, totally.
which led to me ultimately taking a year off dance, and trying to decide. And when I saw your video, it really, really inspired me. I was like, wow, like, I'm not the only one who has gone through these times of completely thinking about my life and thinking
Yeah.
about my career and, taking time to just, stop per se. So,
Yeah.
I think it's important to, at least for me, it's important to talk about the negatives just as much as it is the positives, because it's not always beautiful, sparkling, glittery tutus on stage and
Yeah.
galas and performances and getting to dance with this company or this whatever, because
Yeah.
it's, while there are some absolutely amazing highs, there's also some devastating lows, and it's not easy to talk about that. I've
Yeah.
talked with some other guests on here, and it's amazing how we can all talk about with our colleagues and with our family, yeah, my ankle is just feeling terrible today. I need to take some time off jumps, or even if it's our health, I've got a sore throat, I've got a cough, I'm not up to it. But talking about what's going on in here is,
Yeah.
it's so silenced. And I think it's important, now, of course, we're not able to really project on a stage per se, but we're able to engage through a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts as well. Mental health in dancers. Why do we think it's neglected? Why do we think it's neglected in the world in general? Because I think it's something that people oftentimes see as a weakness if they go to get counseling, or if they go to seek advice or counsel from
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I think I totally agree with you. It was so hard to find sources of like inspiration when I was leaving ballet. Like, I was trying to find people that had left and pursued college, especially like after professional ballet career, like had left, and how they were doing. Like, it was really, really difficult to find kind of sources for that. I did find a source like on Facebook, like one past dancer that did an interview with I don't know what magazine it was, but that like just that one interview like helped me so much through my journey. And thankfully I was able to find that like one interview. But as you're saying, it's so hard to find sources of places that you can look to that can help you with your mental health.
For sure.
Um, and yeah, and like most ballet schools and companies, they don't have like a sports psychologist or
Yeah.
a counselor or therapist or anything like that, as far as I know. I mean, maybe some schools have it now, like bigger schools, but yeah, I think it's super the psychology behind dancing is just as important as like the physicality of it.
Sure.
Um, so, and there's some amazing like sports psychologists out there that really help you put yourself in the right mindset before performing, after performing, and during the highs and as well as the lows. So I think, yeah, as you said, it's not really talked about enough, like mental health within ballet, and there's like a definite need for it for sure. Um, so yeah, I think if more companies, more schools are able to incorporate a therapist, or if there were more like ballet therapists out there, which I know some people that used to be in ballet that want to go into like psychology or become a therapist, because that could help a lot of dancers. Um, and yeah, I think it shouldn't be kind of taboo to talk about your mental health. I mean, we all experience similar thoughts and feelings. And
Definitely at a time like right now, too, where our
yeah,
lives are being affected beyond just ballet.
yeah, exactly. I feel like probably right now a lot of dancers are not dancing as much as they usually do, and they kind of feel the mental toll of that, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how they should like proceed. Um, so it's just thank you so much for having this space where different professional dancers and other people can talk about what they're dealing with. It's really important for
Of
sure.
course. No, that means the world to me. I mean, genuinely, this is something where it was the whole catalyst behind it was I know I need it. So hopefully somebody else does too. You
Um,
know, it's hard, you know, and you mentioned a little bit earlier facing criticism through things, you know, and whether it's brought onto yourself from others and peers, you know, because this is such a very, again, we've mentioned this before, competitive industry. But, you know,
mhm.
how have you faced criticism? We all face criticism from time to time. I am, you can ask my trainers, I mean, oh, it was just constant. I mean, and the only reason honestly, I love getting criticism because I view it as feedback. I view it as, you know, fuel to the fire, as something to make me better. But there
Yeah.
is a time when it becomes something that's constructive and builds you up, or
Mhm.
something that can be tearing you down, and it can really
Yeah.
affect your dancing and your mindset. You know, I'm a firm believer that when you get to that level in your training and you get to that level in your career, you know, 90% of what we do is mental and the other 10 is physical, because you've spent so many years, you've spent
Mhm.
all this time to get that physical part there and up to par. And of
Yeah.
course, we continue to build on it, but the foundation is there. The rest of it is just the tools that we use up here to continue to
Yeah.
develop that and to grow that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, criticism in your eyes, how has that built you up? How has it torn you down? And how is it a contributing factor to your life, your career, anything?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, um, I usually took criticism pretty well, especially if it was like said in the correct way. Like constructive criticism was good. And I was taught pretty young that I should like want feedback. I shouldn't like push away feedback. I should like want feedback and incorporate it. Um, but there was a time when I was like 13 where I was like not really mentally healthy because I was not sleeping enough. Like I was only getting like 4 to 5 hours per like every night.
Oh,
And I
wow.
didn't have like because I was just like up until like 3 a.m. trying to finish my online homework, and it was just like not a good cycle I was in. So that was like
Yeah.
the main reason. Plus I like did not have like one day off from ballet for like 6 months. I don't think I had like one day off, and so I kind of like burnt out kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I was 13, and I like started I was like on the verge of tears like every day during class, it was like such a hard time. And I remember like even when my teacher would say something, I just take it the wrong way every time. And I remember I would just be so like frustrated all the time with myself. Like I try a turn and it wouldn't work, and then I try again and again and again, and it just like wouldn't work. And then I just like cry during private lessons. It was such a
Oh.
hard time. That's why sleep is super important. Please, I mean, this is a little bit away from the question, but please sleep, because sleep is really good for your brain and
It's
keeping
true.
sleep stable. I think a lot of us, including me, sometimes don't value sleep as much as we should. Like we're like, we'll be fine with only whatever hours a
We're
night, but
young, we can get a coffee, we'll make
yeah,
it through. No.
yeah.
Yeah,
So like we'll get through it, blah blah blah. Maybe like one night is okay, but like if it consistently becomes very little sleep,
it
then
adds
that's
up.
actually
Yeah.
really bad for your brain. And there's actually like sleep scientists at my university that are doing a lot of research into that. And having little sleep for a long amount of time can be very bad for your physical and mental health, both short term and long term too. So please sleep, everybody. Sorry, going back to the question though, with criticism. So that was like one low point where I wasn't taking criticism well. But then after that, when I started sleeping well again, I started to really crave feedback. Like I loved anything I'd get from my coaches. I'd like be craving any feedback. So that was really, really nice at that time. But as a professional, like I think a big jump between being a student and a professional is that you don't get as much feedback when you're a professional. You still do get some,
Yeah.
but like when you're a student, you get feedback all the time. But when you transition to being a professional, you suddenly don't really get much feedback, and you're like,
What
so you,
now?
yeah, so you really have to work on yourself and like appreciate any feedback you may be getting from your coworkers, and maybe even I know like Skylar Brandt is doing like still privates with like Marina Dvorvenko and everything, so those privates probably help her a lot. Yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about criticism.
Definitely, absolutely, absolutely. And I want to tie that into, it goes without saying that there's pressures that we feel as dancers, as people, in career and in life. Someone wrote in and they want to know, you were very young when you were filming First Position. If people don't know what that is, you should definitely know what that is. It's a documentary that follows Miko and several other young promising dancers throughout their ballet training. And, at several, well, obviously the big competition that they followed was Youth America Grand Prix, which is one of the largest student-based ballet competitions internationally for dancers. And so, you did that at a very young age, and it came out. I mean, it was a wonderful documentary, but how did that affect you? Did you feel pressured? Did you feel inspired by that? Or how did that play a role in just your day-to-day life? Because obviously you were young, you were still training, you were competing, and then you had all this added, camera, eyes on you, attention.
Yeah, so that like First Position was, first of all, like it was an amazing experience being a part of that. It was just kind of by like randomly that I was able to be a part of it. I guess I'll like just quickly mention how I was part of it. So like the director, who had never filmed anything else in her life prior to First Position, was like randomly at YGP the year before in New York, or she had just like walked into the building, and she walked into the theater, and like the next dancer was like me out of like the thousands of dancers that were at New York.
Oh, wow.
And so she like saw my little contemporary thing when I was 11, and then she was like, oh, like this would be cool to see what like the backstage life to this looks like. So then she like looked through all the photos of the dancers to see like if she could find me, and then she found my brother, and then she asked the director of YGP for like more students that could be interesting to follow. So that's kind of how I got into First Position. And then so we weren't really expecting anything. We just got this random email that was like, hey, do you want to be a part of this like documentary thing? And we were like, okay, like it could be like a good home video for later, like it won't turn into anything. So we just like started filming, and she just come by herself. Her name was Bess Carkman, like the director, producer, editor, everything. And so it was cool. She'd come for like a couple days at a time and film me. And then through New York, YGPU is like every day. Um, and then so we filmed it in 2010, I think. And then it didn't come out for like 2 or 3, like 2 years at least. So it was like 2 years of hearing nothing about it, like seeing nothing about it, like yeah, hearing and seeing nothing about it. So we were like, is this gonna become anything or anything? So it only came out when I was like 14 or 15, and that was really cool to like see it on the screen. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was really amazing, and then it did really well, like a lot better than any of us really expected. So that did kind of I feel like more dancers knew who I was after that because that of the exposure through that film. So that's like another reason why there was more people watching me to see what I would do next, I guess, in ballet. uh, so that was it was like good. It was like a great experience to be a part of that, but it also
Yeah.
added like extra pressure for me to like continue ballet, which was hard when I was 18 when I didn't really want to continue
Mm-hmm.
anymore. But overall, I was very lucky, like super lucky to be in that film, and it is like nice to watch back like decades later.
Sure,
Like it's been
sure.
a decade now since it's been filmed, so it's a long time.
Crazy, isn't it? No,
Yeah,
it just makes me feel old. Oh, yikes.
I know, same. I'm like, it was a decade ago. It's crazy.
I know. Well, it's interesting. You mentioned just a couple minutes ago the key term burnout,
Mm,
and I don't know if many people know what you meant or when I'm saying what I mean by when I'm using the term burnout. You
yeah,
know, there are several dancers within. I don't want to say like I don't want to categorize us, but within our age,
yeah,
our generation of the dancers coming up who have all gone through a period of like burning out of ballet. Can you talk a little bit about what that is? Obviously, maybe there's some people who haven't experienced that yet. I personally
yeah,
have, and burning out for me was just losing interest and not feeling motivated to go into class and, dreaming about what my life would be like if I wasn't doing ballet. That for me was
yeah.
kind of a burnout moment.
Yeah, I think a lot of dancers do experience burnout, and they may experience it differently or similarly. I don't know like the exact like definition like behind burnout, but for me it's like when you get really tired of what you're doing and you don't see the kind of the point of doing it anymore, and you just get very tired and yeah, just as you were saying, like you don't feel motivated to continue kind of going to classes and continue like improving. And yeah, it's really difficult to go through as a dancer because you don't really know what to do with yourself.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I definitely experienced it like a couple times. Yeah, when I was like 13, and then um like luckily I came back to it. Then I was able to like, because that was mostly about sleep as well. I think if you're not sleeping enough, you can also just mentally not become stable, so that can lead to burnout. If you're just overworked every day and you don't feel like you're um not compensated for it, but if you don't feel like you're working hard but you don't see the like rewards for it kind of,
For sure, yeah.
then you may experience burnout. So it's definitely really difficult to go through, but just make sure like you're healthy as well, like you're sleeping well, you're eating well, and you take breaks too.
For
That's
sure.
partly why I kind of burnt out when I was 13. I think as I said, I was like doing ballet every day for hours, like 6 months in a row with like not one day off, and that was not good. Like you have to take breaks sometimes. It's good for your body, like physically and mentally, to take breaks, so that you want to go back to it too.
For
Yeah,
sure. And I think it's important to identify too, like you just mentioned, the difference between burning out and needing a little bit of a break versus coming to the realization of maybe this is time for a reevaluation to figure out
yeah,
what I'm going to do next, if I want to continue, if I want to deviate.
Sure.
And it's true. I think that this happens in life as well. You know, we go through experiences that have us reevaluate what we're doing, and it's not necessarily a negative time. It's a
Hmm.
time where we're just able to refocus and figure out what it is we want to be doing and what
Yeah.
motivates us. And so I don't want to run out of time, but I do want to take one last question. And this has been something I've been asking every guest that I've had on my channel so far. And I've been having the most amazing, amazing answers on this one. And it is, no, it's been so interesting too. Like there have been so many relevant points mentioned. And so I want to get your perspective as well. There's a lot of stereotypes and stigmas within the ballet and arts community,
Yeah.
in the world as well. But since we're talking about ballet, I thought I want to circle in on that. You know, what is one thing that you would love to see change within the ballet community, potentially when we move forward, getting out of this situation and we're all able to go back to our normal lives?
Oh, that's a good question. Um,
Hate to put you on the spot, but
no, 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 it's really good. I think I think kind of what we're talking about, like increasing um, the platform to talk about mental health in dancers and increasing the amount of like ballet psychologists that are out there, or like sports psychology that might a sports psychologist that might specialize in ballet.
yeah,
So having more of them out there for sure. So maybe implementing more sports psychologists into ballet schools, ballet companies. Like we have a lot of like physiotherapists, like at BRB we have like amazing physios. Um, and so implementing not only like the physical health of it, but the mental health behind ballet at ballet schools as well as ballet companies would be very beneficial, I think. And just increasing, just talking about mental health in ballet. It's hard to talk about for sure, but the
yeah.
more we talk about it, the more comfortable people will get about talking. So, yeah, I think that's what I would say is increasing the amount of psychologists that are out there that can help dancers and implementing um, those therapists into dance schools and companies.
Absolutely. I think that is so wonderful. I couldn't agree more. It's definitely something that I think there needs to be more of an awareness and a little bit more recognition and caring thought put into
Yeah.
that as well. So, but Miko, thank you so much for your
Thank you. Wait, one
contribution
moment.
today.
I
Oh,
have.
okay, okay. Do you have a little four-legged baby knocking on the
Yeah, I
door?
have a little baby. She wanted to come in for the last couple minutes. Let me see.
I've got my little, actually, I've got 8 legs outside my door. I've got two little
Oh,
fur babies, but
hi.
oh my goodness.
This is my little
Hi.
quarantine buddy. She's the cutest
Quarantine buddies,
ever.
we all need them right now. Give them some extra love, and
I
be
know, look at
careful
all the
with them
hearts
too.
coming.
I don't know how the science is working, but news is kind of scary saying that these guys are susceptible to that stuff too. So everybody, 4 legs or 2 legs, keep yourselves safe. And Miko, I want to thank you so much
Thank you
for
so much.
being part of this. I mean, I absolutely love being able to hear your perspective. It brings
Yeah,
me not only an immense smile to be able to have watched you and continue to watch you, grow and evolve as an artist, as a person, as a
thank you.
future figure in your career and in our lives as well. It means a great deal to
Yeah.
me and hopefully everyone else watching this today as well.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for creating this like or it's not, I don't know if I can call it podcast, but like this platform where different dancers
Thanks.
talk about mental health. It's so needed right now, I think, especially through what we're going through. And even though I'm not like dancing as much anymore, I can definitely empathize with dancers that are dealing with this right now. And so having these talks where people can see what other dancers are feeling and thinking, because it may be very similar to what they're thinking, is very, very important. So thank
Yeah.
you so much, Ali, for
Oh,
putting
it's
this on and also providing me on it.
it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been having fun every day doing this. I'm so happy that you were able to be a part of it. And for everyone watching, thank you guys for your continued support and
Yeah,
engagement
thank
as
you.
well. be sure to tune in to, or actually go to allieetoile.com, which is my website. You guys can find out who's speaking next. If you want to find out more about Miko, there's details on there all about her. And of course, gosh, I'm terrible at this, like influencer blogger stuff like that. What do they say? I don't even know what these people say. I don't know. I guess I'm supposed to say to subscribe to my channel because I've got all these conversations uploaded on there, in addition to some fun vlogs and stuff, and you can watch my editor making fun of me on video. So if you need a laugh, you can laugh at me. That's okay.
Yeah, Ali makes amazing videos on YouTube, so if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe.
Oh, you see, you should be doing this. This is you're suited for this. I'm
Oh
a
my
newbie
God,
still.
no.
I'm failing, but hopefully I'll get better at it. All right, Miko, thank you so much for your time. This has been a blast. Thank you to everyone who's been part of it, and I hope everyone continues to stay safe out there, wash your hands, and keep a clean, clear mind as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Bye, Miko. Bye, you guys. See you next time.
Bye.